So as it has been widely reported today, the healthcare CEO suspected shooter suffered from debilitating back pain. The owner of Luigi Mangione's former apartment in Honolulu told the Associated Press that it stemmed from an apparent pinched nerve, which he'd had for years. Let's bring in an expert to discuss this, Dr. Christopher Good. He's a spine surgeon, president and CEO of VSI, to talk about the impact this could have had on Luigi Mangione. Doctor, thank you so much for being with us. Dr. Good, explain to our viewers what this condition is that the suspect had as a child. I believe it's called spondylolisthesis. What is that, and how does that impact someone's life?
Sure. So spondylolisthesis is a potential reason for someone to have a spine fusion at a young age. In our spine, our low back, our vertebrae are stacked one on top of the other with the discs, the cushions between. And if somebody gets a stress fracture or a break, one bone can start to slide back and forth, becoming unstable. And as the bones move back and forth, that can trigger back pain. Or if it pinches the nerves in between the bones, that can trigger pain where the nerves come out of the spine and travel down the legs. Things like pain, numbness, and weakness. And while this will commonly start in people at a young age, like a teenager, the time at which it actually becomes, a symptom or a problem can vary from teenage all the way to much later in life. But if someone develops this instability and slippage, triggering back problems and pinched nerves, then one potential treatment can be a spinal fusion. And that involves literally using implants, screws or rods or cages to hold the bones in position, and bone graft to literally weld those bones together so that they no longer slip and slide and pinch things.
I know that the suspect in this case had posted an image of an x-ray with those screws in it, so we're kind of extrapolating here. But how can debilitating pain impact someone's mental state? Can you talk about that? I know you treat patients with this kind of pain and these issues.
Sure. So, failed back syndrome or a failed spinal fusion can actually result from a couple of different problems. And I can't specifically comment on Mr. Mangione's for sure, but if someone has implants put in, we're waiting for bone graft to weld the bones together. And if those bones don't mend properly over time, slippage can start to develop, screws can get loose, things can get repinched. And this is one common reason for someone to have a failed spinal fusion. And so in a situation like that, it can be a huge range of symptoms, from really not feeling bad at all to horrible back pain, nerve pain, and left untreated and not treated properly, that can really become a very chronic disabling condition. And the longer we deal with these kind of conditions, the more they wear us down, not only physically, strength, but mentally. And especially if we have multiple different medical conditions going on at once, additively, that can be just more and more of an issue. And if you think about someone's mental health, right, we all have different mental predispositions and issues. But if you think about going through something so stressful, that can really be a major issue for people.
Yeah, and of course, I'm sure investigators will be looking into this as a potential turning point for him. I think it goes without saying that being in pain does not necessarily mean that you should be committing a heinous crime like this. Dr. Christopher Good, thank you for joining us and sharing your expertise.